Hello and welcome to another PlanetDestiny video. Today, in continuing with our analysis of the new perks in House of Wolves, we'll be taking a look at the Icarus perk. It can be found on fusion rifles and all primary weapons except pulse rifles. The perk reads, improved accuracy while airborne. For the entirety of this video, the left side will be without the Icarus perk and the right side will be with the perk active. So let's start off by simply comparing the recoil before and after the perk is activated. So let's take a look at the weapons where it has the most noticeable difference. Auto rifles, while in the air, have a very noticeable spread. Once you land, it takes a few shots for the recoil to recover and go back to normal. With Icarus active, the spread while in the air is almost exactly the same as it is on the ground. For combat purposes, the Icarus perk does make landing your shots easier. Curiously though, you can still hit your target without the perk. It might just take a little bit longer to completely kill them from the air. Reliably hitting shots is much easier with Icarus active on auto rifles. Moving on, let's take a look at fusion rifles. Without the perk, the spread is just wild and pretty much impossible to land a full burst from medium range. With it active, it's similar to auto rifles. The spread is almost the same as on the ground. Scout rifles don't have an extremely noticeable improvement. It's definitely easier to hit targets with Icarus active, but it's still possible without it as well. At the longer ranges, it becomes difficult again, but mid-range, there's pretty much no difference. Hand cannons show the least amount of improvement, but that isn't saying that they're bad. A while back, hand cannons had an accuracy increase applied to them when you're shooting them from the air, so this is probably why the perk seems so underwhelming on hand cannons. Short, medium, and long ranges are pretty much all the same. Only at the absolute longest ranges that hand cannons are capable of will you see the difference. So now let's examine if this perk is really worth it. If you're the type of player who generally keeps his feet on the ground, then there will be no need for this perk. In PvE, there really isn't much use for the perk either. Enemies will still generally be able to hit you in the air, so you can't really gain a tactical advantage there. And generally, you'll be wanting to take something that increases your damage so things will just die easier. With this info in mind, we can say that Icarus is a perk that's mainly going to be used by players in PvP who like to catch their opponents off guard and engage them from the air. So we already know that auto rifles, fusion rifles, and scout rifles are going to have the most to gain from getting this perk since hand cannons already have a really high accuracy when in the air. In PvP, it's unfortunate that the weapons that have the most to gain from this perk aren't really in a good place in the meta. Being able to fire auto rifles in the air wouldn't make them suddenly able to compete with some of the other power weapons. It could be argued that fusion rifles could become more useful if you could reliably fire them from the air, and you'd be right, but chances are your current loadout would be hurt by using a fusion rifle instead of a sniper or shotgun. I know I'm kind of getting away from talking about the Icarus perk and getting more into meta PvP discussions, but it's worth examining that for the purpose of seeing if the perk is worthwhile. Now that I've gone over the current PvP meta, let's try and examine the perk if all the weapons in PvP were actually equal. Icarus does provide the player with another level of combat choice. My current playstyle of engaging enemies from above would greatly benefit from having Icarus. Think about this, when you see an enemy on the radar, you're generally going to be aiming at where you think their head is going to be. Now, to your surprise, they show their face from around cover, but 12 feet higher than where you thought they were going to be. They gain maybe half a second on you, which is usually more than enough time for them to secure the kill. Before I give my final thoughts, I wanted to go over the Celestial Nighthawk. A lot of the community has been saying that it has the Icarus perk as a hidden bonus. If you remember from a few months back, we data mined that this helm was actually called the Exotac Angel Hunter, and its only perk was giving increased accuracy while in the air. Fast forward to now, a lot of the community has been reporting that it's been giving the perk. Unfortunately, in my testing, I haven't been able to confirm this. I tried it out with both auto rifles and fusion rifles since those were the easiest to see the results. Based on the tests, I saw zero changes in the accuracy for either weapon. After researching all the threads on it though, I'm fairly confident in saying that the Celestial Nighthawk does not give the Icarus perk as a hidden bonus. So in a perfect world, Icarus would be a great perk for players that are looking to engage some enemies from a height, but right now we aren't really in a perfect world where Icarus is worthwhile. Hand cannons dominate PvP and already have pretty good accuracy while in the air. Until the weapons can be balanced, Icarus will be a pretty low tier perk. For now, pass on it. I hope you found some of the info in the video helpful. This has been Patrick Casey with PlanetDestiny, your guide to the Destiny universe.